Hi friends, today's topic is Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act 1956. Essential elements of a valid adoption. According to Section 6 of Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act 1956, the following are the essential of a valid adoption. The person adopting has capacity and also right to take in adoption as per the section 7 and 8 of the act. As per the section 9 of the act, the person giving in adoption has the capacity to do so. As per section 10 of the act, the person adopted is capable of being taken in adoption. And number 4, the adoption is made in compliance with the other conditions mentioned in the section 11 of the Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act 1956, which include actual giving and taking. Who can be adopted as per section 10 of the this act? What are the criteria for the prospective adoptive parents? And what should be age of parents who are adopting a child? No person shall be capable of being taken in adoption unless the following conditions are fulfilled. First, he or she should be Hindu. Second, he or she has not already been adopted. He or she has not been married unless there is a custom or usage applicable to the parties which permits persons who are married being taken in adoption. And number 4, he or she has not completed the age of 15 years unless there is a custom or usage applicable to the parties which permits persons who have completed the age of 15 years being taken in adoption. What are the eligibility criteria for prospective adoptive parents who are adopting a child? The prospective adoptive parents, PAP, shall be physically, mentally, and emotionally stable, financially capable, and shall not have any life-threatening medical condition. Any prospective adoptive parents, irrespective of his marital status and whether or not he has a biological son or daughter, can adopt a child subject to following: the consent of both the spouses for the adoption shall be required in case of married couple. A single female can adopt a child of any gender, but a single male is only eligible to adopt a son. A single male shall not be eligible to adopt a girl child. No child shall be given in adoption to a couple unless they have at least 2 years of a stable marital relationship. The age of prospective adoptive parents as on the date of registration shall be counted for deciding the eligibility, and the eligibility of prospective adoptive parents to apply for children of different age group is described in the table, which is in the next slide. What should be the age? If a couple is adopting a child up to 4 years of age, their composite age should not be more than 90 years, and as a single parent, it should not be more than 45 years. If a couple or a single person adopting a child between age 4 to 8 of years, then their collective age should not be more than 100 years, and as a single parent, it should not be more than 50 years. If a couple is adopting a child between 8 to 18 years, their composite age, their collective age should not be more than 110 years, and as a single parent, it should not be more than 55 years. These are the restrictions on the age limits for parents who are adopting a child. What are the legal effects of valid adoption? Section 12 of this Act describes us about the legal effects of valid adoption. The main object of this section is to modify the old Hindu law which considered doctrine of relation back. The act does away with the theory of relation back and confers on the child adopted a status equivalent to that of a natural born child in the adoptive family only from the date of adoption. Under section 12 on adoption, all the ties of the adopted child of the family of his birth shall be deemed to be severed and placed by those of the adoptive family under section 12 clause A. Only tie that he retains with his natural family is that he cannot marry any person in his family whom he could not have married before his adoption. This is the only tie. Clause B of section 12 interjects to protect his right in any property which stood vested before the adoption. But it does not mean that the adoptee will continue to have some interest in the estate of the natural family which he had acquired by birth, even though he is legally deemed to be a member of the new family. Note that the clause protects only the property which had vested in the adopted child before the adoption. In these cases, Banabai versus Vasudev, the Bombay High Court held that the adoption take effects only from the date of adoption and not prior to the adoption. The fiction of relation back as a result of adoption has been done away with by section 12 of the Act. In the another case, Kesadbai versus Kartar Singh, AIR 1981, Bombay High Court. Bombay High Court declared that the doctrine of relation back prevailing in old Hindu law has been completely abolished. Now, the adopted child cannot divest his adoptive mother of property which has already his adoptive mother property which has already vested in him before the adoption. Now we come to the cases. Validity of the adoption. What is the, if somebody adopts someone, so is it valid or not? Now we are discussing the situations. A's father and mother are dead, but B has adopted him. First one. In this case, the adoption of A is valid provided the guardian of A has obtained the permission of the court before giving A in adoption. It is only after the permission of the court is obtained, a valid adoption of an orphan can be made. In second case, A's wife has gone to her father and is not able to join the physical act of giving and taking the boy in adoption. Can A adopt B under the above contingency? In this problem, the adoption is invalid. The unavoidable absence of wife is no ground for not taking her consent for adoption. So the adoption is invalid. There is mandatory provision that a male Hindu who has a wife living shall not adopt except with the consent of his wife, unless his wife completely and finally renounced the word or has converted to some other religion or has been declared as an unsound mind person by a court of competent jurisdiction. In the case number 3, B, a stranger has been adopted by A. Is it valid or not? In this problem, the adoption is valid as there is no bar for an adoption of a stranger. The caste and gotra restrictions has been altogether removed. And number 4, A's father is dead and mother has renounced the world. B's brother has given in adoption. In this case, the adoption is invalid as only three persons in successive order can give a boy in adoption. Only three persons in successive order can give a boy in adoption. They are firstly the father with the consent of the mother, unless the mother has completely and finally renounced the world, or has ceased to be a Hindu, or has been declared by a court of competent jurisdiction to be of unsound mind. I discussed this earlier also. Secondly, the mother may give the child in adoption if the father is dead or has completely and finally renounced the world, or has ceased to be a Hindu, or has been declared by a court of competent jurisdiction to be of unsound mind. And thirdly, in the absence of either the father or mother's capacity adopt, the guardian of the child may give the child in adoption with the permission of the court. Such power is not given to a brother. So, in this case, adoption is invalid. Number 5, A's age at the time of adoption is 16 years and has not married. B takes him in adoption. In this case, the adoption is invalid. So, discussed my previous slide also. Adoption is invalid as not only marriage bars the adoption, but at the time of adoption, the boy or girl must not have completed the age of 15 years. Unless there is custom or usage applicable to the parties which permits person who have completed the age 15 years being taken in adoption. The adoptee should not be more than 15 years and should not be married. Both conditions in normal situation don't allow for the adoption. Persons capable of giving a child in adoption. Different persons' capacity is different for giving a child in adoption. Under the old Hindu law, only father or mother could give in adoption. The only person who could lawfully give a boy in adoption were his father or his mother or the guardian, whether testamentary or appointed by court or natural. The father could act against the will of the mother, but the mother could not give without the assent of his husband while he was alive. But after his death, she could give her son in adoption in the absence of express prohibition by her husband. Similarly, a stepmother could not give a stepson in adoption, nor can a grandfather give his grandson in adoption. Under the present Hindu law, following persons, what are the capabilities we are talking? What are the right of father and mother to give a child in adoption? Right of a father, the primary to give in adoption is that of the father. If the father is suffering from any disabilities, then he is no longer capable of giving his child in adoption, and mother can give the child in adoption. The first right is of father. Second, right of mother. The mother cannot give her son in adoption while the father is alive and capable of consenting without his permissions. But she may do so if he has become incapable of giving his consent, or if he has renounced worldly affairs and entered a religious order, or after his death, provided there be no exposure or limited prohibition from him. What are the rights of guardian? Testamentary or appointed by court. So, in absence of parents, or when both the parents have completely and finally renounced the world, both have been declared to be unsound mind or guardian, then the guardian of the child may, with the permission of the court, to which he may be subordinate, give the child in adoption. Delegation of power. The power to give a boy in adoption belongs exclusively to his parents and it can be exercised by them alone. Neither parent, therefore, can delegate the power to another person. But the physical act of giving son in adoption may be delegated to another. As such, an act involves no exercise of discretion. Renunciation of Hindu religion. It's a major thing. A Hindu father who has become a convert to Mohammedanism does not by reason of his conversion lose his power of giving his son who has remained a Hindu in adoption. But since a physical act of giving a son in adoption is accompanied by religious ceremonies, such act must be delegated to another person who is a Hindu. Due to this reason, he is not entitled to give his son in adoption. And last is the mental capacity. The person giving an adoption must have attained the age of discretion and must be of sound mind. He should be well aware what is he doing, to whom he is giving his child in adoption. Can a valid adoption be subsequently cancelled? The adoption has the permanent effect of severance from the natural family of the boy or girl and permanent relation to the adopted family. It cannot subsequently be cancelled. It is, however, open to the adopted child to give up or modify his or her rights to properties and inheritance in the adoptive family, either before or after the adoption. In the case Kashibai versus Tatya, it was pronounced in the court. In this case, we have, in order to prove the first defendant's acquiescence in arrangement, not only the attestations of himself and his legal advisor on Lakshmi Bai's will, but also the more eloquent fact that he was content to accept the deed of adoption, he in turn, which in terms restricted to the property to which he was entitled. Relation back theory. We were discussing about this theory in our previous slides also. So what is this theory? Under such, when a widow adopts a son for her husband's death after the property has vested in the collateral or heirs and successor of the husband, in the eyes of law, it would be deemed that the adoption took place during the lifetime of the husband and the adopted child was present at the time of husband's death. Hence, the adoption will relate back to the time of the death of the husband. Under such circumstances, the adopted child shall have a right to inherit the property of his adoptive father, and if the property has vested in other heirs of the husband, the adopted son shall divest them of the property. The cardinal rule was based on the relation back theory because the adoption relates to back date when the husband of the widow died. The ground on which the adopted son is held entitled to take in defense of the rights acquired prior to his adoption is that in the eyes of the law, his adoption relates back by a legal fiction to the date of his adoptive father, he being put in a position of a posthumous son. What is the scope of this relation back theory? This theory applies only when the claim made by the adopted son relates to the estate of his adoptive father. The estate may be defined and ascertained as when he is the sole and absolute owner of the properties, or it may be fluctuating as when he is member of a joint Hindu family in which the interest of the co-partners is liable to increase by death or decrease by birth. In either case, it is the interest of the adopted father which the adopted son is declared entitled to take as on the date of his death. The theory on which this doctrine is based is that there should be no hiatus in the continuity of the line of the adoptive father. The main purpose of this theory was this doctrine was this, that there should be no hiatus in the continuity of the line of the adoptive father. In this regard, in this case, Anant versus Shankar, 1935, it was held that power of a widow of predeceased co-partner to adopt for her husband does not come to an end on her son dying unmarried by reason that he was the sole surviving co-partner in the joint family and his property had vested in a person other than the adoptive widow. And another case, Srinivas versus Narayan, the Supreme Court observed that the property once vested cannot be divested. Their lordship in this case observed same. The lordship referred Anant's judgment. We are of the opinion that the decision in Anant versus Shankar, insofar as it relates to properties inherits from collaterals, is not sound. Section 12 proviso C, subsection clause C, also adopts the same views and says the adopted child shall not divest any person of any state which vested in him or her before the adoption. In the last case, Divaji versus Dadit and others, the Supreme Court had held the proviso clause C of section 12 departs from Hindu general law and make it clear that the adopted child shall not divest any person of any state which has vested in him or her before the adoption. Thank you, friends.